After journeying through the rich wheat fields of southern Summerland, the view that lies before you now looks especially bleak and colorless. The landscape is flat and desolate, only relieved here and there by a ragged corpse of stunted firs or a mound of broken earth. During the afternoon, storm clouds gather above the peaks of the Derncrag Mountains to the west, and the roll of distant thunder warns of imminent rain. It is early evening when your scouts find the ruins of an old temple, less than a mile from the highway. If you wish to set up camp for the night in the shelter of the ruins, turn to 290. If you wish to avoid the temple and continue, turn to 141. Zipporah wants temple time, okay. It's temple time. I'm down with the temple. Alright. Well, let's go with the temple then. We're going to set up for night at the temple, so 290. The ruins are overgrown with weeds and roots, but you make out the shape of the inner sanctum of the temple quite distinctly. The huge marble canopy is still intact and will serve as an excellent shelter from the storm. As you tie your horse to a withered shrub, you glance up to see two men hiding beneath the canopy dressed in long black robes. You order them to come out and identify themselves, but they neither move nor answer your call. If you wish to signal your men to attack the robed strangers, turn to 44. If you wish to try to capture them alive, turn to 102. If you decide to sheathe your weapon and approach them, your hand extended in a gesture of friendship, turn to 78. So I guess attack, capture, or friendship. So let's try and capture them alive, 102. Your men draw their swords and advance on the strangers. The hooded men immediately raise their hands and emerge from beneath the empty canopy. One of the men drops to a small earthenware flask full of clear liquid. One of the men drops a small earthenware flask full of clear liquid, and it shatters on the hard marble floor. A search of their bodies reveals 12 gold crowns and enough food for 2 meals. Mark the adjustments on your action chart. Around their necks, they wear wooden amulets carved in the likeness of small fish. If you possess the Kai discipline of healing, turn to 19. We'll do that since we have healing. Let me add the gold. And we're already full up on our backpacks, so we don't need to take their food. But we now have 45 gold coins. We are almost completely full. Let's turn to 19. You instantly recognize these amulets. They are the symbol of the holy order known as the Redeemers, a silent order of pilgrims devoted to a lifetime of prayer and healing. You apologize for your hasty reactions. The holy men both nod and give their shaven heads in forgiveness. Your men have pitched camp beneath the marble canopy, and preparations are soon underway for a good night's sleep. You are hungry, and you must now eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. So we will eat one of our rations. We turn to 233. There we go. Oh dear. Your rest is disturbed by the ancient shout of the night guard. Awake! Awake! We're under attack! Throwing back their blankets, your men leap to their feet, peering through the teeming rain at the shadowy silhouette of horsemen circling the ruins. Suddenly an arrow whistles through the darkness. Your lookout screams and falls to his knees. Form a circle, you shout. Keep behind cover. The Rangers gather swords and shields and press themselves against the wet temple marble for protection. The sound of metal-shod boots on stone make you spin around. A dozen warriors dressed in shiny red armor are clambering across the broken pillars. 2 Rangers run to block their advance, but they are felled by one sweep of their warrior leader's broadsword. Then the warrior sees you and quickens his pace. His bloodied sword is raised to strike again, and you cannot evade combat, and you must fight the warrior to the death. All right, combat it is. 1726, this will be easy. Let's set up combat, shall we? Ours is 30. Bingo bango. Versus his 17. That's like what, a 14 difference? No, 13 difference. And then he has 26 endurance. There we go. Alright, Lolp, hold our place. Let's see what the dice has in store for us today. We pretty much are gonna kill him on an 8 or higher at this point. Otherwise, probably 2 fell strokes would be enough. Well, no. If we roll a 1... Yeah, anyway. That's a 7. 7 is 18 damage. Not bad. Very small likelihood of not killing him next round. And we don't take any damage. So... if that was 18, so that brings it down to 26, down to 16, and down to 8. Next roll. Gets us a 9. That's a kill. Insta-kill. That's what we like to see. Alrighty. Thank you, Lolp. If you win, turn to 312. All around you, the ruins echo to the clash of weapons and the screech of battle cries. These armor-clad horsemen are no ordinary bandit clan. They fight with a discipline and skill unheard of among the lowly outlaws of the wildlands. You step over the dead warrior and call about a handful of your men. The enemy have surrounded your horses, and you must act quickly if you are to save them from being taken. You lead a charge through the ruins, piercing the enemy line. They falter and flee back into the darkness. However, by the time you have reached the temple perimeter, only 11 of your horses remain. Others have vanished. After much thought, you decide to choose 10 rangers to continue the mission with you, sending the remainder of your company back to Summerlin to report on what happened. As the gloomy light of dawn gradually fills the sky, and your chosen companions bid sad farewell to those who must march back on foot. Pick a number from the random number table. 0 through 2 turns to 120. 3 through 9 turns to 51. Not liking that 0 through 2. We'll see what happens. 30% chance of something happening. Usually means it's not going to be good. Nah, and of course we roll a 1. So we get that 30% chance. 120. Oh, weird. After many hours of riding, you reach a highway junction. A large signpost indicates 2 destinations. South to Ruinan, 60 miles, and east to Eshnar, 40 miles. If you wish to continue south, turn to 33. If you decide to go east, turn to 92. So we went south last time. I don't know if going east will be of any use to us this time around. But I leave that up to y'all. Oh, and by the way, check this out. Which way do we go? Well, last time we went south. Show the map. So that means.
Okay, you're weird.
Yes, indeed. Okay. So that means that we are currently right. Sorry, I got us off track here. Son of a gun. That means we are right there on the map. Helping her help you in the end. Exactly. It really did. So Zipporah wants to go straight south like we did before. Okay? Alright, south it is. Turn to 33. It is almost dark when you reach the edge of a densely forested valley. You can just make out the highway disappearing into the trees ahead and catch sight of a signpost pointing towards the south. You are now only 40 miles from Ruanan, but your men are tired and in need of food and rest. If you wish to set up camp at the edge of forest, turn to 74. If you wish to send some men into the valley to scout for bandits, turn to 139. If you decide to go without food and sleep and press on to Ruanan as quickly as possible, turn to 251. So, we skipped a lot of the travel things that we did last time. Interesting. We ended up on the edge of town a lot, or on the edge of the forest a lot faster this time. Either that or I screwed up which page we were starting on. I know that sending people to scout ahead just made people disappear. So that's what we did last time, is we sent people to scout ahead, and it did not help. We just lost men. So we can either set up camp or press on without food or sleep, is what I would suggest, since sending the bandits, or sending the men to patrol for bandits only just made the men disappear. Probably killed. Alright, but campfire, yes. Setting up camp, 74. Weird. Oh well. Okie dokie. The night passed without incident, and you awake refreshed by your sleep. Restore 1 endurance point. I don't think we... Yeah, we're good. After breaking camp, you enter the forested valley. Your warrior instincts warn you that the highway would be the ideal place for an ambush. The densely packed trees lining the road could easily conceal an attacker. As a precaution against such a surprise attack, you send 3 of your men on ahead with orders to report back if they should sight anything at all unusual. After traveling some distance, you come across the wreck of a burnt-out wagon, abandoned at the side of the road. Behind it, a track disappears eastward up the hills. There is no sign of your scouts, who should have returned to report this abandoned wreck. Well, duh, of course they were killed. We killed them anyways, apparently, even if we decided not to send them. If you wish to search the wrecked wagon, turn to 38. If you wish to ignore the wagon and continue along the highway, turn to 175. If you wish to investigate the tracks leading to the hills, turn to 293. Okay, so essentially, do we check out the wagon, ignore the wagon, or check out the trail? Check out the wagon. See, for some reason, I'm thinking about Willow. Stupid Daikini. Ask him to stop the wagon. Alright, let's check on the wrecked wagon. Turn to 38. No cargo remains inside the charred shell of the wagon. The wood is black and the metal fittings have buckled and blistered in the heat. However, in spite of the damage, you find enough proof from the ashes to confirm your suspicions. This is the wreck of a Summerlending cavalry wagon, one of 3 that left for Ruinon with Captain Duvall's troops over a month ago. Too tired and not working with good files to start with. Yeah. Sometimes if you're not tired, you're just not going to get it the same way you are when you've got like that energy. As you stand in the wagon, brushing the ash from your hands, one of your men suddenly cries out in pain. You glance up in time to see him fall from his horse, a disc of sharp steel embedded in his chest. Ambush! Take cover, you shout, as more of the deadly discs whistle out of the trees and claim their victims. Frightened horses gallop in all directions, your men desperately clinging to the reins. The hidden attackers vanish as quickly as they came, but not before 3 of your men are left dead upon the highway. After burying your dead, you must decide on the best course of action. For now, only 4 men remain at your side, and the hidden enemy may return at any time to finish their evil handiwork. If you wish to continue on the highway, ride at full speed for Ruinon, turn to 97. If you wish to avoid the main highway and continue by the eastern track, turn to 15. So the question is, do we wish to just take the highway straight to Ruinon, or do we continue through that track where the cart was, I guess, coming from? 15. Okay. You have ridden less than 100 yards when you notice fresh hoof prints in the dust of the winding tracks. Do you have the Kai discipline of tracking? Turn to 264. We do, so let's go ahead and do that. Your Kai senses enable you to identify the hoof prints disappearing along the path towards the east as those made by Summerlending cavalry horses. So if you wish to follow the prints, turn to 134. If you wish to head the opposite direction of the tracks, turn to 191. So do we wish to follow the Summerlending cavalry or go the opposite direction? Why wouldn't we follow them? I don't know. I mean, obviously something bad happened to them, so would we be following their same fate? So maybe we would try a completely different direction from them. Tune back in. So the idea is we're trying to find out what happened to Captain Duvall and his troops, because we sent them initially to Ruinon, and they never reported back. So we were trying to find out what happened to them. That's the idea. But from what we learned last time through the playthrough, we know they met a pretty bad fate. So it's more a matter of, do we wish to follow the same direction and investigate, or do we try just going the opposite direction? I feel like it's following them is probably important to accomplishing that goal. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I'm just going through the logic of why people might choose the opposite direction. Investigate the peeps. I don't remember how he died last time. Was I trying to remember. Uh oh, we had finished the fight at Ruinon, and then we knew we had needed to head south to stop the sacrifice from happening. But we checked out a cabin, and we fought a dude, or we got some stuff from it. But then we checked out the basement, and the basement got closed in on us, and all the undead came back for us. So that was like an insta kill right there. So as long as we don't go into any cabin basements, I think we'll be fine. So, but let's go ahead and follow them, I guess. Do we all agree to go in the basement? That was the sum agreement between all parties. There might have been one or two people against it, I don't remember, but that was the consensus is what I always go with. So the consensus was to go into the basement. Yeah, gas basement. Yeah, that's what we were saying, but someone came in and just closed the lid on us and put something heavy on top so we couldn't get out. So let's see, we followed the prince, 134. You soon arrive at the entrance to a mine. Two sets of footprints disappear into the gloom of the tunnel, and judging by their shape and size, they were made by two of your missing scouts. You shout into the mine, but there's no reply to your call. If you wish to enter the mine, turn to 91. If you decide to call off your search, return along the hill track and turn to 191. So we went into the mine last time, I believe. This is how we ended up getting to Ruinon. But I'm sure there's more than one path to Ruinon. Question is, do we want to go into the mine this time, or do we want to try another way? Pretty sure I voted to go in. Oh, y'all want to try another way? Okay. Slow, what are you thinking? Man, I must be out of shape. This mug is like super heavy on my left arm. Oh, no, I know what it is. My left wrist is injured. This is straining my wrist to hold it. Duh. Alright. 191 then. Let's see what happens. We are going into unknown territory. You soon reach a junction where the tracks meet the main highway. Abandoned at the side of the road is a burnt-out wagon. Wait. We went back to the wagon. If we examine the wagon, the same thing's going to happen. Ignore the wreck. You continue to ride south along highway to 297. So, we just came back to the wagon. Why would we examine the wagon again, though? This is really weird, but it also doesn't allow us to go back up the mountain. This is weird. Well, chat, what do you want to do? Examine the wagon or just continue along south? I don't know what's happening right now. I'm lost. Check out the wagon again. So let's see if something different happens. Maybe it'll kill the exact same people it did before. Maybe there's something new we will notice. Maybe. I don't know. Like, I'm wondering if we're stuck in a time loop. They must have caught on to this. There's no way we'd end up with the same exact results. We should lean into it. Check out the wagon. Okay. Let's see if this breaks things. 337. Turning into a tailspin. Okay, well, although fire has totally destroyed any markings there may have been in the wagon, there still remains enough of the shell for you to recognize its military origin. It is a Summerlending cavalry wagon, one of the 3 that accompanied Captain Duvall and his troopers. It was loaded with provisions when it left Homeguard a month ago, but now all that remains of its cargo are heaps of ash. Having made a thorough search of the wreckage, you remount your horse and lead your men southward along the highway. Turn in 297. I guess the idea is, in case you didn't actually check out the wagon last time, you just ended up getting ambushed. This gives you a second chance to confirm that this was Captain Duvall's wagon. That's what because see, now it's saying just turn 297, so we're just going to go south at this point. Yeah, so it wasn't quite a tailspin, but it also doesn't keep the idea in mind that you already checked it out. It's not like a computer game where it can do that. It is noon before you are forced to call a halt. You have reached the edge of a ridge where the highway begins a long descent towards a wide wooden bridge. Pardon me. This is the Ruin Bridge. You recognize its stout black timbers and dark waters of the river Zane that flow beneath. On the far side of the bridge lie the fire-blackened ruins of an inn and the unmistakable silhouette of a bandit horseman. At the edge of the bridge is a white signpost pointing across the bridge to the south, Ruin 12 miles. You know it would be suicidal to attempt to cross the bridge. The bandit horsemen each carry heavy crossbows slung from their saddle. If you wish to cross the river further upstream to the west, turn to 113. If you wish to try to cross the river downstream to the east, turn to 252. Okay, so this is where we have literally a west or east situation. So, of course. Okay, so west it is. So now when I wake up, my hip flexors really hurt. This is the part I don't like about getting old and out of shape. But anyway, okay, so we went upstream, 113. Sorry, I got off topic. You enter the forest and descend into the wooded hillside towards the River Zane. You have gone only a few yards when the trees become far too dense for you to be able to continue on horseback. Reluctantly, you signal to your men to dismount and continue on foot. You soon reach the river and follow the foam-flecked water upstream. The climb takes you through a maze of wide rock terraces, worn smooth by the force of the river. Then, at a point where the torrent is fed by many smaller streams, you catch sight of 6 bandits stabbing at the water with their spears as it thunders along the smooth-hewn channels. On the far bank, you see a pile of gray fish standing next to a horse-drawn wagon, which you recognize as a Summerlending cavalry wagon. If you have reached the Kai rank of Warman, turn to 166. Now, yes, we have. If If you have yet to reach this level of Kai training, you may launch a surprise attack on the bandits by turn 14. If you rather sneak across the river under the cover of many large boulders that divert the watercourse, turn 316. If you would rather avoid crossing here and head back the way you've just come, turn to 232. So it's giving us options. But we have the Kai rank Warman. So since we have that, do we want to use that? Do we want to try and sneak across? Or do we want to avoid and go back? Because it seems like this is our most usually successful option is when it gives us this stuff. But it does technically give us other options. This option obviously is skipped since we already have Warman. But instead of just having those two, you either have Warman or you don't, it gives us two backup options. So do we wish to basically attack successfully, sneak, or retreat? I think roleplay would dictate it. Okay. That is fair enough. $316. You are halfway across when one of your men slips and is washed away by the torrential river water. Ugh. His desperate cries alert the bandits. Suddenly, a bandit warrior appears on top of the boulder behind which you are hiding. He screams and lunges at you with his spear. Deduct 2 points from your combat skill for the duration of the fight, for you are now at a disadvantage. The bandit warrior towers over you, and your footing is wet and slippery. Combat skill 16, endurance 26. You may evade combat at any time by diving into the river Zane, turn to 31. But if you win in the combat, turn to 146. Not one of our men. He was our... Yeah, I told you, every single time we have people, they automatically die. All right, so we're going to have 28 instead of 30 for this combat. And apparently one of my tabs got closed on accident. Where'd it go? I need you. All right, so for this one, we're going to have 28. He has 16, so we still get a plus 12. So having that -2 advantage didn't really do anything for him. And he has 26. Boom. All right. Not guy number 2. All right, so we're still working with the plus 11 or greater. 5. So 5 does 14 damage to him and 1 to us. This is our first damage of this run. So what was that? 14. So he is down to 12. So a roll of 4 or greater will kill him. And that's an 8. That means insta-kill. It's the second time that's happened. Turning to 146. The bandit tumbles into the rushing water and disappears from view. You leap from stone to stone in pursuit of the 2 bandits who have survived the ambush and who are now scurrying off towards the far bank to alert the other bandits inside the wagon. As the bandits emerge from the wagon, to your horror, you notice that they are all armed with bows, which they train upon your advancing rangers with deadly precision. Oh dear. As you shout a warning, an iron-tipped shaft creases your scalp, and you are knocked backwards into the dark, swift waters of the River Zane. Turn to 272. Well, it looks like we dived into the river anyways. This is not looking good for us. Well, shoot. You smash feet first into a large river boulder. Recoiling from the impact, you cough uncontrollably in your desperate fight for air as the water fills your ears and nose. Down and down, around and around you go, your eyes stinging and the pain in your legs grinding agonizingly upwards through your body. A glancing blow to your shoulder rips the sleeve from your jacket and numbs your arm. Your weapon falls from your hand. You are somersaulting into a steep V-shaped channel and buffeted on all sides as you tumble towards a pool far below. You feel the sheer weight and volume of water behind you will plunge you to your doom. As you plummet into the swirling dark water, all consciousness rapidly gives way to a blind and silent numbness. When you open your eyes, it's dusk. You've been washed up on the river, near to a twisted forest track. The silhouette of the Makin Range rises steeply to your east, and you realize you must have drifted many miles downstream. You have survived a terrible ordeal, one that would have killed any lesser mortal. You have lost 5 endurance points due to leg and head wound, and 1 weapon. All your special items, backpack items, and gold crowns are still intact. Make all the necessary adjustments to your action chart before turning to 79. Well, chat, I am going to guess we don't want to lose the Summer Sword, which means we have to lose Duval's sword. So we don't get to give it to him this time. Could have been worse. But, like, story-wise, that kind of sucks. Just from losing, like, the Duval situation. Now, we lost 5, but we gained 1 because of healing, so we're at 25. Turn to 79. All of our men are dead. Struggling to your feet, you stagger along the forest track as it ascends into the darkening foothills of the Makin Range. All our men are always dead. Yeah, I know. They must wear red shirts. You know, I love that meme and everything. I watched TOS. I watched it. I kept an imperfect count of the number of different types of shirts that died. And actually, the golden yellow, kind of greenish yellow shirts died almost as often as red shirts. Kind of weird. Since it was actually such a close. It was more true in TNG. Now, yeah, and see, by that point, the gold yellow. So, red and gold yellow switched places in TNG, where red shirts became officers and yellow became security. And yeah, security dropped like flies in TNG. But like the red shirt thing part came from the original, back when, and at that range, red shirts were the security. So I just thought that was a funny little fact. The track comes to an abrupt halt at the entrance of a mine tunnel, partially obscured by foliage. You realize this must be a disused route into the Makin mines. for they honeycomb the foothills and mountains of the region. You know that if you can locate one of the major shafts, you could be able to trace your way through the mines to Ruinon itself. Just inside the tunnel entrance, you find a broken crate containing 5 torches and a tinderbox. The tunnel is pitch black, and you will need at least 1 torch to light your way. You may take however many torches you wish before continuing, but each torch takes up 1 space in your backpack. The tunnel is cold and forbidding. You explore for over a mile before arriving at a junction. Here, another tunnel branches off towards the south. It appears to be a recent excavation, and you follow it in the hopes of finding a major shaft. No flashlight, right? Turn to 117. The funny thing is that we have the fire sphere. I don't know why we can't use that. I remember last time we got rid of the rope because later on we find a rope that only takes out 1 slot. No Kai Mage Light. Yeah, if you want Mage Light, you got to go with the mages. Remember, the Mage Guild was different than the Kai Guild. I'm thinking get rid of the rope because we need slot for the tinderbox and we need a slot for the torch. So this way it'll allow us to take 2 torches if we get rid of the rope, and we'll have room for the tinderbox as well. I'm just more surprised because we have the fire sphere that we don't use that. I also remember that we found a rope that only takes up 1 slot. 2 torches seems like a good idea. Okay. Remember someone was like trying to say like ooh, but they kept saying like poo, polonium. Or they were trying to say something and they kept saying like poo, polonium, ooh, and they're like, I give up. And for some reason it was just the funniest thing to me. Alright, there we go. Long day. Oh, I know. Alright. We gotta find a major shaft. Alright, turn to 117. There we go. You soon reach a section of tunnel that is under repair. Part of the floor has subsided and a gaping hole is spanned by a rickety wooden bridge. You are tired and fail to notice that your torch is almost burnt out. You are at the center of the bridge when the torch flickers and dies. You are plunged into darkness. If you have another torch in your backpack, turn to 22. If you have no other torches, you must try to inch your way across the bridge in total darkness. Oh. So, yeah. Good. We have another torch. So I guess we use it. I guess it gets deleted when we use it. BRB. Alright. So we're going to turn to 22 since we have a torch. You fumble in your backpack to remove a torch, and in doing so, drop one of your other items you're carrying from your backpack into the crevasse. If you were only carrying a torch, you have lost a weapon instead. Oof. You eventually manage to light the new torch and make your way safely across the other side of the bridge. Continue along the tunnel and turn to 157. Jeez, they're after us today. So, do we want to lose one of the rations, maybe? We have 3. Do y'all want to lose a ration or a torch? Probably be the best option here. Yes? Okay. Seems like the best of a bad option. Okay. We lost the item. Continue along the tunnel and turn to 157. You are now so tired that you are forced to stop and sleep. Many hours pass before you awake, totally refreshed, to restore one endurance point and continue exploring the tunnels. Oops, I also forgot to restore the other endurance points for healing. I think it's 3 points, so plus that, so that brings us to 29. And then depending on how the next page turns out, it might be 30. 309. 23. I think I'm going to cut it at 9:30. Just because I have a lot of work that unfortunately has been put off by today's errands. Okay, so there is no combat. So I'm going to bring us up to 30. You follow the tunnel for 3 hours before arriving at a great hall, where several tunnels, all at different depths, meet up. A series of wide stone ramps connect each tunnel to those immediately above and below. 4 levels below you, teams of men are pushing wagon loads of ore. Others, dressed in red armor, stand guard over the wagon pushers and urge them on with their whips and curses. The tunnel in which you now stand is on the highest level. You realize that the only way you can proceed is by descending the ramp to a tunnel on a lower level. To your dismay, you notice that each of the ramps are guarded by armed men. Inching forward, you peer over the edge of the ramp. 2 guards are sitting near the tunnel entrance below. They are laughing and giggling and pointing at an empty wine flagon that lies at their feet. After watching them for several minutes, you decide they are probably too drunk to notice you. You decide to make a dash for the tunnel. Pick a number from the random number table. If you possess the Kai discipline of camouflage, add 4 to the number you have picked. So it's going to be really hard to pick 0 through 7, but it's still possible. So we need to roll. So 0 will get you 4. 0. 1 will get you 5. 2 will get you 6. 3 will get you 7. We need to roll a 4 or higher to make this. A 5. Yeah, we go. 5 plus 4, that's a 9. So we made it 244. You slip past the guards and enter the tunnel unseen. It is wide and illuminated by a line of wall torches, whose guttering flames crackle and sputter noisily. You soon arrive at a junction where the tunnel narrows and divides into 2. If you have the Kai discipline of Sixth Sense or tracking, turn to 250. So let's try that. We have both. You notice that the right tunnel is newly excavated, and you sense that it has yet to be completed. Rather than get caught at a dead end, you push along the left tunnel. Turn to 335. The tunnel soon emerges into a large chamber divided by a deep mine shaft. A dark-skinned warrior in tatty leather armor stands guard at the entrance to the wooden bridge spanning the shaft. He is whittling a block of wood and grumbling to himself about how unfair it is that he's given the most boring duties. On the far side of the chamber, a tunnel disappears into the west wall. You know that if you are to reach the tunnel, you must get past the guard and across the bridge. If you have the Kai discipline of camouflage, turn to 35. If you have the Kai discipline of mind over matter, turn to 317. So, what do you want to use? I think we used mind over matter last time. Actually, I don't remember which one we used, because we ran into the same situation last time when we had to fight the cats. So we are back in familiar territory now. So chat, do y'all want camouflage or mind over matter? it up. I like the camo. All right. 35. Using your Kai skill, you blend into the shadows of the chamber wall and slowly inch your way nearer and nearer to the bridge. Suddenly, the guard puts down his block of wood and turns his back. He is rummaging in the havershack for some food. You see your chance and sprint towards the bridge, your weapon poised to strike down the unwary guard. Pick a number from the random number table if you have the Kai discipline of hunting, or if you've reached the Kai rank of guardian or higher, then add 3 to the number you have picked. So we definitely reached both, so we get to add 3. So 4, 5, 6, 7. We need to roll a 5 or higher. So it pretty much makes it a 50-50 chance, I guess. Nope. 6. There we go. 231. Your attack is swift and deadly. The guard expires before his head hits the ground. A search of his clothes reveals 3 gold crowns, a sword, and enough food for 1 meal. You may take whatever you wish and cross the bridge, but remember to make the necessary adjustments to your action chart. As you reach the far side, you hear sounds of running footsteps in the distance. You decide not to wait to see who it is and quickly enter the tunnel in the west wall. Turn to 348. All right, let's add those few things. That gets us to 48 gold. I mean, we have a sword in case we need to lose a weapon. So at this point, it's good to have both weapon slots filled up. Just in case they say lose a weapon. Jeez. Could you imagine us only having the summer sword in hand? That would suck. And then we get a meal. Hi, Borat. Welcome on in. How are you doing tonight? We're turning to 348. Less than 50 yards along the tunnel wall, you notice a lever. Your Kai instincts make you naturally suspicious of this unnatural feature, and you scour the floor looking for evidence of a trap. You find nothing, but a glance to the roof reveals the underside of a wide portcullis hidden between 2 beams. You pull the lever and the portcullis falls, sealing off the tunnel behind you. To make sure you will not be followed, you smash the lever with a wedge of stone before continuing along the tunnel. Turn to 185. You are hungry and must now eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. You then continue along the tunnel, which runs for several miles before eventually arriving along a long, deserted gallery. Smash it! Pull it! Yeah. So let's go ahead and eat that meal we just got. By the way, Mike fell asleep on the new blanket. He's loving that thing. He's just like, don't let's put him on there, and he's like, pull it, smash it, bop it, squeeze it, twist it, tie it, hang it. Wait, are we talking about people or boppets? Cats like new stuff. Yeah, I've got to put the smell all over it. But he also loves laying on like pillows and sheets and piles of clothes. Loves that stuff. Bop it, bop it, bop it. All right, where was it? Yeah, turn to 40. A line of empty ore wagons parked along the stretch of track that disappears into the west wall of this gallery. Above the arched tunnel, a flight of wooden stairs leads to a smaller passage lit by sputtering torches. You stay hidden in the shadows, watching the gallery for half an hour before you're satisfied that it is safe to enter. If you wish to follow the wagon track into the west tunnel, turn to 55. If you wish to climb the stairs to the balcony and explore the passage, turn to 291. If you have the Kai discipline of tracking, and if you have reached the Kai rank of aspirant, turn to 349. I guess that's what we need to do. Judging by the smoothness of the stone floor and the condition of the ore wagons, you deduce that this gallery must service a major section of the mines. A fresh breeze can be felt blowing out of the west tunnel, and you sense that you must be near the surface. Ruinan lies due west, the same direction as the ore wagon tunnel. You take a deep breath and emerge from the shadows, cross the gallery, and quietly enter the archway beyond. Turn to 55. Elementary, my dear Watson. Yes. As you make your way along the torchlit tunnel, you pass several ore wagons bearing the same design branded upon their wooden sides. Across Moline, above the initials OV, you recognize the seal of Oren Vanelund, the Baron of Ruinan, and it confirms the fact that you are heading in the right direction. Suddenly, the sounds of approaching footsteps begin to echo along the tunnel ahead. They become louder, accompanied now by shouting and the cracking of a whip. If you wish to dive into one of the empty ore wagons, turn to 161. If you wish to hide in the shadows of the rough tunnel wall, turn to 286. But actually, let's go ahead and call it here, because it's actually 9:41 now. So, that was season 1. Yeah, I know, it left out on a bit of a cliffhanger. A lot of life has happened since then. A lot of time has passed, as you can probably tell. I've since moved, and I have the new game room set up. I think it's looking pretty good. So keep an eye out for season 2, hopefully coming soon. It'll be live on Twitch as usual. And in the meantime, if you want to keep an eye on what's going on, if you want to talk tabletop gaming or Lone Wolf, you can check us out on Discord. That's where you'll find me pretty much every day while I'm working on everything that I'm working on. Links to that, as well as everything else, can be found in the description below. In the meantime, I'll see you later. Keep an eye out for season 2.